I honestly kind of debated making this video, not because I can't talk about it or that it's a struggle to talk about, because it's honestly not. But I do think that to some varying degree, it's not my favorite thing to talk about, because I also I'm very uncomfortable with death and like knowing someone I know is gone, especially my dad. Although we didn't have a great relationship, he's still my dad, and regardless of like our relationship, it is still a very weird thing when someone who's been in your life for 25 years is just gone. So I've been really struggling with that, and just the constant reminder that he's not here. You know, there are some things about him that I don't miss and that I'm glad I never have to like really experience anymore, but sometimes I think about the dad I used to have when I was a kid, and I think about little kid me, and thinking about how she doesn't even know that her dad won't be around anymore. And I'm also very sad about the fact that I feel like my dad still had so much time left. For those who are new, my dad passed away of stage 4 colon cancer last year. It's the 1-year anniversary of his death today, July 6th. I know specifically he passed away around noon, so he's still alive at this time because it's 9 a.m. but I don't get super emotional when talking about him or his death, as I once did in the past. But it is the 1-year anniversary, so I don't know, it's a little bit hard when you can envision yourself where you were a year ago today, thinking about being at home with your family and being there when he was pronounced dead. It's a very surreal experience as somebody who's never experienced death in her life before. The last time I remember going to a funeral was my grandma, and she was my dad's mom, and that was like in 2006, so I was really young. I'm not here to really talk about my relationship with my dad too in-depthly. 10 months ago I made a video called A Lot's Been Going On, and in that video I do mention that my dad passed away, and that eventually I will make a video talking about it, and my feelings about it. And I'm not gonna lie, like over the 10 months afterwards up until this point, I have not really talked about my dad to like anyone. I really try to avoid it, not because it's hard to talk about, but because I guess if I think about it long enough, I will get like really sad. And also, like I had mentioned in the beginning, our relationship has never been great, and I don't want to highlight that part of his life in respect to him. So he was a great dad when I was growing up. I feel really blessed and almost spoiled that they raised me so well when I was younger. I definitely had my issues. I definitely think that as parents are, you know, there are things that they do when you are growing up that you hated, and that might have contributed to the person you are today. But I'm a little grateful, even though I feel like I'm a mess of a person, but I also feel like I'm very strong. And that up until my dad's diagnosis, I feel like I've been handling so many things on my own without additional help from, you know, like if I've dealt with anxiety at a very young age, and depression and thoughts, and I partly feel like I dealt with a lot of that without a lot of stuff. Not that I'm saying that I didn't want it or I didn't need it. I definitely think I needed it. I just never had the chance to actually have it. But I think part of why I was able to handle that so well is because, you know, I'm my father's daughter, and my dad has always been a strong person. He doesn't let a lot of things get him down, and he's able to handle a lot of the things that life throws at him. And so, you know, while I do have some of the bad parts of both of my parents, because I'm still, you know, genetically their daughter, I also think I have some of the good parts like that, like his strength and bravery, because I'm still here. I still haven't raised a white flag yet. Things that I had thought from the moment my dad got diagnosed up until his death, and there's always been one constant thought amongst all these other ones, is I can't believe this is happening to me. You know, you never think in your life that you're going to be somebody who has to go through something like that until it happens. And I remember when he got diagnosed, I really said, not our family, not us, you know? And I'm sure if you have either had cancer or know somebody who has cancer, I'm sure you probably feel the same way and probably thought similarly. But that is the main one. I remember staying late up at night Googling how to tell when someone's close to death with chemo so I could prepare myself. I was thinking about who out of my friends still has both of their parents, and I realized I'm the only one who is about to lose their parent. I was also feeling very hopeful in the beginning. We were all feeling very hopeful in the beginning because they were very careful on their words, saying that it is terminal, but it is treatable. So we were very hopeful because my dad was not willing to go down without a fight. I'm just thinking about if I had to talk to like childhood me, if I had the chance to talk to her and she said, what's it like with you right now? I don't know if I would tell her, if I would shield her by telling her that her dad dies. But I don't think about that too often. It's only when I'm really watching these videos of me playing with him in this swing set. I think about the day before he died and how he was still drinking and his eyes were open. He was watching TV, which is what he loved to do. He spilled a little orange Fanta on his shirt. And it dribbled down his chin. I went to go and dab it a little. And I already had felt so uncomfortable around him because they were telling us it could happen any day now, and I just was scared to see him take his last breath. So I mainly like avoided him on his last days while still acknowledging that he was there. And my aunt on my mom's side was telling me to be near him, and I'm a little glad that I did get to have that little moment with him. I think about Father's Day last year when he broke down and said that he wasn't going to make it that year, and how he saw me, my mom, and my brother eating lunch, Father's Day lunch, in the kitchen, and how he was like, I'm glad that you guys are doing that because I want you to start living life as if I'm not around. When he was still making sure that we were set on having newer cars for the both of us before he died. And how he had to be carried into my mom's car. And my mom took him to all the houses we had lived in, and which granted was only like 4 before the one that, you know, they're living in right now. And he was like, I want to keep going. And you know, before people on hospice die, they have like one last spark of energy, and it's hard to tell when your person has that moment. And I was waiting for that moment because that's when I knew the time was getting closer. And so when my mom and my aunt, my dad's sister, took him on this ride in my mom's new car to see our old homes that we lived in, after they came back, my dad wanted to stay in the car and said, oh, Nona, who's my aunt, Nona wants to go out, let's go out. And my mom and my aunt were like, what, you want to go out? And they weren't prepared for that because it was supposed to be just a short ride just around the neighborhood to our old homes. And he wanted to go out and he didn't want to get out of the car. And they ended up not going because he was having a hard time breathing. And I remember going up to my aunt and saying, is this that burst of energy? Because, you know, when terminally ill people are nearing their death, that spark of energy is the last bit of like energy their body is left to give, and it's giving it all at once. She was just like, I don't know. The day he died, I remember, you know, some of my family asking me if I knew he was going to go that day. And I was like, sort of. Because I've been really closely watching all the signs. Like they gave us a little pamphlet that shows what the symptoms are, what the signs are as you get closer and closer to death. And flashback to me Googling. But I remember that, and so I was kind of preparing myself. So when they asked, I was like, sort of. But you know, even so, I don't think I could have predicted him passing away that afternoon. I don't know if I will have edited this at all, or I didn't really want to make this video super long. This is my dad. He loved the Dallas Cowboys. He loved playing basketball with my little brother. He started working at Dell, and he ended working at Dell He worked really hard to build the life that he had up until he died. He was married to my mom for almost 30 years. He was my dad for 25 years, and he was my brother's dad for 20. And may he rest in peace. I have one of these here in the apartment, and I have one of them in my car, and I have them right here. I do mention sometimes that I always wear him around my neck. The only time I take him off is to take a shower. Thanks for listening.